Due to the graphic nature of this episode, listener discretion is advised.
Why, hello there, and welcome. Oh my God, we're burning alive!
Welcome back to episode 38 of Super Mystery Bros, a very special episode, our 2024 Halloween Mystery episode. My name's Nate, and with me again is Ivan. Ivan, why did your parents name you that, man?
Because my father told my mother that no one in his family was named Ivan, but actually it wasn't true.
Yeah, doesn't that get a little confusing
What do you mean?
in your country?
No. Actually, in my school there was only one Ivan.
Why are you
So-
lying, man?
I'm not lying.
All right. All right, man, if you're ready, why don't you kick this one off for us, since this was a mystery of your choosing that I had nothing to do with.
Of course. Let's get it started. He's been compared to the likes of Unabomber, the DC Sniper, and even Osama bin Laden. Although less notorious than those three, he is no less diabolical. He's a solitary soul who roams the earth alone, hiding in the shadows, waiting for the perfect time to strike his unsuspecting victims. I am talking, of course, about the so-called bowel movement bandit, aka Kenmore Poopa, aka Akron, Ohio serial shooter. These are just some of the many monikers given to unidentified male suspect who conducted a serial shooting spree in the Kenmore neighborhood of Akron, Ohio, lasting from May of 2012 until March of 2015. To this day, the man has successfully eluded humanity's attempts at bringing him to justice for his horrible crimes and is potentially still out there, raising hell and stirring chaos in the new town.
According to CBS News, police say the suspect relieves himself on the hoods of vehicles, or if a car's door is unlocked, inside the vehicle itself. Holy shit. In his over 3-year reign of terror, he reportedly shat on or in a minimum of 19 cars, smearing feces on side mirrors, hoods, door handles, and even dropping deuce through open sunroofs. But police fear that the victim count could be much higher, as most victims and their families have been too afraid to come forward, fearing further retribution. A cold, calculating monster, he struck with surgical precision, leaving behind a wake of destruction, dozens of families ripped apart, and a city gripped by fear ever since.
As we once mentioned in episode 6 of this podcast, feces has a long and storied history of being used as a weapon. Scythian archers as far back as the 5th century BC would dip their arrows in feces in order to ensure even the most minor wounds would turn deadly for their enemies.
In more recent times, as in earlier this year, North Korea floated more than 150 balloons loaded with payloads of feces into South Korea, sparking an international crisis akin to the lyrics of the 1980s hit song 99 Luftballons by Nena. However, some of these events pale in comparison to one man who decided to weaponize his own feces against the innocent people of one Akron, Ohio neighborhood. So let's give a little background on where this all takes place. So, according to Wikipedia, Akron, Ohio, as of the 2020 census, has a population of 190,469, which makes it the 5th most populous city in the state. With a long history of rubber and tire manufacturing, Akron was given the nickname of the rubber capital of the world, and once was a center for airship development. Much like Fresno, California, Akron is long known as being a hotspot for meth use, gaining the nickname the meth capital of Ohio, ranking number 3 in the entire U.S. by number of registered meth sites, whatever that means. One honorable mention for Akron is that one of its residents, Ferdinand Schumacher, created the first American oatmeal and was a pioneer of breakfast cereal. So, shout out to Akron for that. However, in a humble little section of southwest Akron lies the Kenmore neighborhood, a quiet, unassuming slice of Americana where neighbors work hard and are always willing to lend a hand. During its warm, humid summers, friendly neighbors can be seen out doing yard work and waving at the cars driving by with their beautiful, smiling faces. Children play tag or wiffle ball in the streets, and the mailmen deliver not just bills to the hard-working folks of Kenmore, but also head pats and doggy biscuits to all the good dogs of the neighborhood. On Halloween, parents bring their little ghosts and goblins out trick-or-treating, and no resident of Kenmore hands out shitty apples, as that's considered child abuse in these here parts, and could get your house TP'd or windows busted out if you even thought about pulling some shit like that. During the holiday season, Kenmore is nothing short of a winter wonderland, as the neighborhood lights up with some of the most stunning and meticulously crafted Christmas lights displays you'll see anywhere on Earth, straight out of a Home Alone movie. Its residents taking pride in their holiday spirit and are often seen engaging in the season's most festive activity, shoveling snow. Kenmore, goddammit, by all accounts, is like the living embodiment of the American dream. A wholesome, family-oriented utopia where, if it weren't for its stunning, vibrant colors, you'd think existed only in the realm of some fictional black and white TV show from the 1950s. A small little oasis of a time long since past, but still yearned for by millions stricken by terminal nostalgia. A place where the friendly folks who reside there could watch tragedy unfold on the news and consider themselves lucky that nothing like that could ever happen in their neck of the woods. A place where a child's only fear in life is to listen helplessly as the sound of the ice cream truck slowly fades away into the distance. To many, dare I say, heaven on earth. That is, until a diabolical monster emerged from the depths of hell and decided to shit all over it.
Tonight, dear listener, we're taking you to Akron, Ohio, so pack your Halloween costumes, your dirty pillowcases, and your toilet paper rolls, and get ready to trick or treat in the lower middle class neighborhood of Kenmore, a neighborhood that has been gripped by fear for over 12 years, as we hunt the elusive perpetrator known only as the Bowel Movement Bandit, a diabolical criminal who shat on the hoods of A diabolical criminal who shot on the hoods of not just 19 cars, but also down into open sunroofs and even children's front yard play equipment, which begs the question, could you be next? Stay tuned to find out.
I got a question, man. Why do we have to pack toilet paper rolls? Is it for TPing houses or is it for some other purpose? Do you guys TP houses in Russia?
Only on the... There is like a crazy day. It's not on Halloween, but there is like a crazy day. It's called like, shit, I don't know the translation, like town building or some shit like that. And then all the freaking teenagers go crazy. Sometimes they'll shit by your door, you know. Sometimes they'll put their shit on fire too.
Yeah. Oh, so the owners come out and stomp it out.
Oh yeah, and then it's shit, right? So the leg is covered in shit. But sometimes it goes wild. I think I heard about once someone put the bus on fire or some shit like that.
Yeah.
So this day is fucked up. It's like Halloween, but turned up like to the freaking crazy degree.
Halloween turned up to 11.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Defecating on car hoods and mirrors.
A man pants down, defecating on the hood of a car.
People play the blame game, you know, they think it's someone getting back, but now we've realized that no one really knows who this person is.
Somebody that's just sick.
How many times would you guess, at a minimum, he's done this?
At least 100.
And my mother-in-law came out, and it was on there, so we had to get it, you know, sanitized.
7. This is our 7th time here. Same car, same place.
This resident who asked not to be identified counts 20 incidents on his block alone.
I really liked the guy who said who was kind of laughing a little bit, and he said his mother-in-law found some shit again or something like that.
Yeah, that was the guy who got his kids' front yard play equipment got targeted.
Oh shit,
And,
that's
yeah.
fucked up. But his attitude, I really liked his attitude, man.
He seemed to take it in stride, but
yeah.
he apparently has been doing this to at least 100 different people.
Our story begins in May of 2012, in a time much more innocent than now. Lynn LaPlante, a professional violinist and pillar of the Kenmore community, told Chicago Mag, quote, "We were headed out to the suburbs to go to my parents' house. I'm a violinist, and I was going to play for a wedding at church with my mom, and then just spend a lovely day together with my parents. I was pregnant with my second, and my first was a little toddler. All my pregnancies, I had horrible morning sickness, but it would last all day. Because of that, I couldn't be in the passenger seat, because I would get car sick within minutes. So I was driving and windows were down. I just remember it being a really nice day. We were just chatting, and all of a sudden we drove through something, a wall of smell. I don't know how else to describe it. Like we had just walked into an outhouse, and that immediately triggered my lovely condition of throwing up all throughout my pregnancy. I'm still driving and sticking my head out of the window to throw up. It was horrible. Horrible. It was like a nightmare. I'm crying, as you can imagine, while I'm throwing up, while driving, and my husband is screaming, 'Pull over! Pull over! Pull over!' We exited and went to a car wash. When we got out, the car was covered all through the wheels and in the wheel wells and on the side of the car with that looks like waste. I just remember us sitting on the curb and my husband trying to clean up my hair with paper towels as I just sat there crying and retching. It was not one of my finer moments." End quote.
Yeah, so it's important to note here that I was kind of desperate to set the stage for this one with kind of a dramatic first-person account of the serial shitter, but I couldn't really find one. So what I did was I went with a first-hand account of one of the people who got hit by the 800 pounds of doo-doo butter that the Dave Matthews Band tour bus illegally dumped off a bridge in Chicago back in 2004. So yeah, just to be clear, that quote was about that incident, not the Akron, Ohio serial shitter, but it was really the closest thing I could find.
Just to describe the feelings of the...
I mean, I'm just saying that it was kind of similar to that. Parallel.
Mm-hmm.
According to an article on Cleveland.com written by Adam Faris, the following is a partial timeline of reported events. However, we want to remind you that these are only a partial list of events that were reported to authorities, and police fear that the actual victim count could actually be in the hundreds. So, May 15th, 2012, a 27-year-old man reported that someone pooped on the passenger side door of his 2000 Toyota Celica. The man told police this was the second time he found someone pooped on his car. Quote, "The excrement did not cause any damage to the car," the police report says, "but it did cause a big mess." End quote. God damn, he fucking double tapped this poor guy's car. What do you think about that, man?
It's pretty bad, man. It's pretty bad. Tell you what, man, it's pretty bad. I remember in my dorm in Russia, we once decided to take the cat in, like a stray cat, and we forgot to make him like a proper toilet and shit. And the guy once freaking peed in my shoes, man, and that's not cool, you know?
Let's move on. All right, December 19th, 2012. A 32-year-old woman reported that someone threw feces on the hood of her 2002 Mitsubishi Galant parked in the 1300 block of Carnegie. I wonder what she meant by throwing feces. How does she know that it was thrown? Did someone conduct like a splatter test or something?
I guess probably she investigated the... Like, you know, if you just put something on top of the car, there are no... How do you call it?
Yeah, splatter marks.
No traces, no shit traces, right?
Right, well, it's like what the police do when they investigate a murder scene.
Yeah, like blood, right?
The blood splatter, they call it like a blood splatter
Yeah, like what Dexter used to do kind of stuff.
Exactly.
But So probably she
That's
came
brutal,
to that
dude.
conclusion.
That's brutal.
She actually threw it. He or she, whoever it was, wasn't so gentle with the gifts, right?
Yeah. And then going back to December 5th of 2012, the same woman told police someone put feces on the hood of her car. So, yeah, it was a double tap, dude. Just 2 weeks after the first time.
Oh, was it before? Wait.
It's a little bit out of order. It's a little bit out of order here, but it was the same woman. Within 2 weeks of each other, someone shit on her car.
But if the second one is the first one, right? December 5th, and he put the shit on the car, right? But if the
okay, all right. So December 5th, the first incident.
Yeah.
Someone just put feces on the hood of her car.
This is important detail, I'd say, man.
Oh, you're right.
Putin,
and then December 19th is when, yeah. So he's escalating at this point. He's becoming more violent in his approach, right?
I'd say so.
If he's throwing it, that's more of a violent act.
Or maybe he's becoming more cautious. Maybe he threw it from afar, right?
Or what if he was driving by and just threw it out of his window?
Yeah, that would mean that he's becoming more cautious, because first time he just put it on top, like gently, like.
Do you think that it could
like a gift, right?
Do you think that it could have been a drive-by shitting?
Like open window, kind of ass out, and just like pum.
Yeah,
that's really hard, man. I wouldn't be able to do that. I don't know. It's pretty hard.
I can't rule it out though.
How can you? Maybe he was. No, they didn't have Teslas at the time, so.
No, I can't rule that out. It could be, man. All right, September 4th, 2013, a 43-year-old woman reported someone pooped on the hood of her 2003 Chevy Cavalier and smeared it on the door handles. The car was parked in the 1000 block of Carnegie Avenue. All right, so smearing on the door handles, that's fucked up. That's truly fucking diabolical, and that's kind of where you see this guy start to escalate.
Oh, it's definitely an escalation, right? Now he's... Yeah.
October 1st, 2013, a 25-year-old woman reported someone put feces on the hood of her 2002 Toyota Celica that was parked in the 1200 block of Carnegie Avenue. The woman told police it was the third time she found poop on her car. So again, we have a repeat victim here. This guy, he's shitting on the same cars 2, 3, 4, even more times.
But now he kind of de-escalated from September 4th, right? No smearing.
No smearing on the door. At least not reported here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. August 14th, 2013. The same 25-year-old woman from October 1st report told police someone defecated on her car parked at the same location. Okay, so again, this guy, he's triple tapping this poor lady's car. December 3rd, 2013. The father of a 16-year-old girl reported someone pooped on his daughter's car for the third time. The car was parked in the 1000 block of Carnegie. My God, dude, another triple tap. July 15th, 2014. A 30-year-old man reported that someone pooped on the hood of his 1991 Chevy Camaro and smeared it across his hood and passenger side mirror. The car was parked in the 800 block of Carnegie Avenue.
Escalating again.
Yeah, I just wonder what this guy is using to smear the poop with. Like, is he just bare fisting it, or is he bringing toilet?
Man? What would you use, man?
I don't smear poop on anything.
Like,
so
if you would want to one day, like.
I mean, I would hope that I would at least bring toilet paper or some rubber gloves to do it. But I don't know, dude. Do you think this guy's doing that, or do you think he's just bare fisting it like a maniac?
If we use the three associations, man, I'd say probably bare hands.
And why do you say that?
Because it just wouldn't feel the same, man. So it's not like I know. It's not like I know, man. But it's just like the central thing, right?
It's kind of like what some men say about condoms, right?
Oh yeah, something like that.
So you think he can only feel pleasure from his crimes if he doesn't wear protection while he does it?
It's not just that, but maybe for him. Again, we're not. How does this guy say? We're not the Dr. Grande guy. We're not
diagnosing anyone in this video. Only speculating on what could be happening in a situation like this.
Exactly. So I'll say that I think I read a couple of articles to prepare a little bit for this podcast, and I heard that there is this condition in children when they do that. And part of their motivation is some I think sensual stuff, because they kind of feel something with their hands and stuff like that. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Maybe it made them like relax or something.
I think you're really going out on a limb here because it doesn't say anything about whether he barefisted it or not.
Yeah, I'm just saying that free associations. Probably bare hands, man.
All right. So October 15th, 2014, a 19-year-old man told police someone defecated on the hood of his car and smeared the poop across the hood and on the handles of his 2002 Chevy Cavalier parked in the 2800 block of Corey Avenue. Again, you know, he's smearing it on the door handles. It's kind of a fucking low blow, man. It's bad enough that you're shitting on the hood of someone's car, but then to smear it around and on the fucking door handles, it's kind of crossing a red line, you know?
For you.
For me. I think for most people. Local victim Jacob Karam was struck 6 times by the culprit and told News 5 Cleveland, quote, he did it on the hood every time, and then the one time he took it and he smeared it all over the hood, the windshield, the mirrors, the window, the door handles, and the gas tank cover, end quote. All right, man, so based on this information, through the power of your PhD and the method of free associations, what can you infer about this guy so far?
What can we infer? The interesting point that he doesn't do it just once, right? He does it like repeatedly.
Yeah, exactly. So he's not targeting one person over and over, but he's targeting many people over and over. So he's not trying to just shit one time on as many cars as he possibly can. Like, he's not Johnny Appleseed of shitting, right? He wants to do the maximum amount of damage he can to the most amount of victims, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, it seems like he has kind of like a compulsion or something. And did you notice that it was quite often he did it 3 times?
Yeah.
So for some people with the compulsions, they have like they're obsessed with numbers a little bit, you know? Like, for example, you need to check the door handle 3 times. You need to maybe do something else 3 times. Maybe for him, again, we're just speculating, man. Yeah. Maybe for him it was he needed to take shit 3 times just to be sure. One survivor, Mildred Crisp, woke up one morning like she normally does, with pot of coffee and newspaper, particularly the business section. But as she looked out of her window into her doorway, she was shocked and horrified by what she saw. Someone had given her car a fancy new hood ornament. Someone had given her car a fancy new hood ornament. Crisp told CBS News, quote, human poop, you can tell, and stink. Oh my god, it was terrible. Clean off the human mess off the car. Took a bucket of water, clean it all off. Now that's a shame. To have somebody do that. And twice that happened. I hope he gets arrested and put away. He should, end quote. Much like other victims, she had been double tapped by the bandit, and Crisp would never see justice come. The bowel movement bandit, as of Halloween 2024, remains unidentified and is possibly still hiding in plain sight.
The last known attack from the bowel movement bandit came either during the early morning hours of Tuesday, March 10th or Wednesday, March 11th, 2015, depending on the source. On this day in particular, the serial shitter known as the bowel movement bandit struck not once, but multiple times. Like all previous times, he was able to avoid detection and capture by local vigilantes and law enforcement. However, he wasn't able to get away without leaving behind a crucial piece of evidence. A resident on the 2900 block of Corey Avenue, having been previously targeted multiple times by the maniac, decided to take matters into their own hands by installing a hidden surveillance camera in the front window of their home, and managed to do what many thought was impossible. They snapped a photo of the culprit in action. Alright, man, so let's use the method of free association in our analysis of this photo. So I do want to note here that we were able to obtain an uncensored version of the suspect in the act through Ivan's contacts at the Akron, Ohio Police Department. So thanks, Ivan, for going the extra mile in order to obtain that for the podcast.
Everything for the podcast.
All right, man. So what are your first impressions of this guy as we look at this photo?
Well, the photo is not so easy to analyze, man. You know.
All right, why don't you just describe the background and what the photo is?
The background, is it like snow in the background, or
Yes,
was it
that's snow, dirty snow in the background, right?
dirty snow in the background?
Yeah, and there's it looks like a chicken fence or something.
Yeah.
on a little hill.
And then there is a red car.
Yeah, the hood of a red car from the side.
And guy not reclining. How do you say it?
You know what it looks like? It looks like, you know that exercise you do with the kettlebell where you hold it between your legs?
Oh yeah, kettlebell swing, right?
Kettlebell swing. Yeah, it looks like it's kind of like
low
that.
in low position. You know when you kettlebell is between your legs.
Kind of looks like that.
Kettlebell swing.
Yeah, and his legs are at about I would say at about a 150 degree angle, 120 degree angle, something like that.
Oh,
bent at the knees, just a slight bend at the knees. His pants are pulled down to just above the knee. He's got some gray pants. It looks like grayish pants.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a dark hoodie. It looks to be about either black or dark blue. He's got a beanie cap that's.
Is it like navy or something?
Maybe navy blue.
Yeah.
He's got a beanie cap on that looks a little bit darker than the sweater.
His face looks like he realized that he was like the picture was taken, right? Kind of.
Yeah, so it almost seems like he sees it in the window, but he's not sure that that's a camera, so he decides to go for it anyway, right?
But it's so bright. Was there like a flash on the camera or something? It's super bright.
I don't know. Either a flash or maybe, you know, those outdoor, like the
the
motion detected lights outside. Maybe that came on. But let's just address the elephant in the room here. He's got a tiny ass, a very tiny ass. I mean, it kind of reminds me of like Hank Hill's ass in a way. You know, kind of Hank Hillish ass.
Yeah. Remember that episode of King of the Hill, man, where he was worried about his ass or something? I actually haven't seen that episode, but Peter has seen it.
Oh, that's such a good one.
It's a good one,
That's
right?
such a good one.
Do you remember what happened?
It's the one where he had to wear the prosthetic ass cheeks.
Oh, something like that.
Yeah, he had to wear the
like
prosthetic ass cheeks. Go watch it. I'm not going to spoil it for you. But anyway.
Good. The most important question here, is this the shit falling off or not? It's really hard to say.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that he had begun to shit yet. It looks like he's trying really hard. We also have to mention he looks. How old do you think he looks?
40 plus.
Yeah, I would say about 45, maybe about 45, somewhere in his 40s. Caucasian male, bulbous nose. I would say his nose looks kind of bulbous in a way.
So this part is actually called the hood of the car, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I confused it with roof for a moment.
No. Do you have anything else you want to say about this guy?
I mean, looks like a regular guy to me, by the way, man.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
you wouldn't suspect someone
clean shaven, not somebody you would expect to be a serial shitter.
Definitely not. So maybe it wasn't even him, man. Maybe they got the wrong guy.
You think this is not the right guy?
Maybe he was doing something else.
What could he possibly be doing other than taking a shit on the hood of the car? And according to the people who took this photo, he did shit on this car. So that's obviously the right guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else you want to say, or should we move on?
Not yet. Maybe later we can come back to it.
This photo's publication and widespread circulation marked the end of the shitter's reign of terror, having been banished back to the underworld, probably Cleveland or some shit. And peace and justice once again returned to the city of Akron, and nobody's car ever got shat on again, and everybody lived happily ever after. The end. All right, man, are you ready to try and solve this sumbitch once and for all?
Yeah, let's get after it.
All right, man. So what are your impressions of the guy? What are your opinions that you might want to share?
Like I said, if it's really the guy from the picture, he doesn't look like anyone who would do that, right? Just like a regular guy who you would like see on the street or something, normal guy. But
out of curiosity, what would somebody in your mind, what would a serial shitter look like? Where you're like, oh yeah, that's no surprise that guy's the serial shitter. Like some crazy homeless guy with a huge dirty beard and dreadlocks
Yeah, I mean,
or like some Wall Street, Wolf of Wall Street looking guy.
these two options are possible. Like Wolf of Wall Street doing it for the sake
Right,
of fun.
but I'm saying which, if all right. So what phenotype would be the least surprising to you?
The least surprising, yeah, probably. Yeah, and sorry if I'm biased and stuff, but probably maybe some homeless guy or something.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Just because of their mental illness, the high mental illness.
Yeah, rate of mental illness is higher. Just using the statistics, you know.
Yeah.
So.
All right, I think that's fair.
Yeah. What about you? You're leaning towards the Wolf of Wall Street? Or?
I would actually say I would agree with you about maybe a homeless person, but if not a homeless person, probably just someone you would least expect. It's always the person you least expect. Even a woman. Maybe I would suspect a woman.
Do you remember how was the shitter of the Pine Creek described? I forgot her features.
Mid-30s. I mean, I don't know if she was attractive, but she just looked normal.
Again, normal lady, right?
Mid-30s lady jogger. Yeah. Athletic.
So they kind of both look normal, apart from some of their doings, you know?
Yeah, exactly, man. It's truly fucked up.
Yeah.
All right, man. So, second, you know what I'm going to ask you? Which King of the Hill episode does this remind you of?
We already talked about some of the King of the Hill stuff, but actually, because... I prepared a little bit. So I have another one in mind, of course.
Okay.
And I'll gonna take you on just a little bit of a tangent here, but we have time.
All right.
So, basically, this guy, I'd say times have changed, right? Times have changed. Like before, maybe like 3 or maybe 10 or maybe 100,000 years ago, something like that, when people still believed in ghosts and whatever.
I believe in ghosts.
Like on the mass level, like everyone believed in ghosts and something like that. They would probably think that the guy just got possessed and he needs like a shaman or something. But nowadays he's like, it's a kind of a crime, right?
Of course, man. This is one of the most serious crimes imaginable.
Kind of something like crime, right?
Yeah.
No, just,
not something like a crime. This is definitely a crime, man.
Yeah, because you can kind of damage someone's property to some extent, right?
And damage their lives.
To some extent, maybe.
To a large extent.
Yeah, so I think it's a lot of it. It's like a little bit of a cultural thing, culture has shifted a lot. Before, maybe people wouldn't even judge this guy. They'll be like, oh, maybe he can talk to the spirits or something, right? But now he's like freaking crazy maniac,
Yeah.
So the cultural norms shift, and that might make us more judgmental towards that guy. Coming back to the King of the Hill. So some guy shits on the car. Just picture in your head. You have picture in front of you.
Yeah.
And we are like, oh, this guy is so bad, so terrible, right? It's freaking so bad. But do you remember that episode of King of the Hill? Then Hank, Dale, and Bill, they fucked up Boomhauer's car. Do you remember that episode? They drove it in the freaking lake.
Oh, yeah, I do.
They drove it in the freaking lake.
Yeah.
And they lied. So, why did I bring it up? I don't know. No, I know. Just to give you the comparison between how the culture kind of changed. Maybe we wouldn't be like... We're probably more angry at the serial shitter than at those three guys, right? Kind of.
Why would I be angry at a cartoon character?
Imagine they're real.
You've completely lost me.
I'm just talking about the cultural comparisons, kind of.
So you mean why? Okay, so if somebody destroyed somebody's car and then lied about it?
Yeah, in comparison to someone who shot on the car many times.
I mean, I guess you could repair the car if someone shits on it, right?
Yeah, but the impression is way stronger, I think, right? I
think to take a shit on the hood of somebody's car, I think that's like an act of disrespect, right? It's not you're not a sympathetic character when you do something like that, right? It's like in every culture around the world, if you do something like that, it's an act of defiance, like an act of disrespect to take a shit on something that someone else holds near and dear to their heart. And for most Americans, that's their car, right?
Yeah.
Do you think we made a breakthrough in this case? Do you think I made a breakthrough by,
coming up with that explanation, like act of disrespect?
Yeah, like shitting on people's cars.
Yeah, so it's an act of disrespect, right? And he shot on many cars, so we know about this guy. But maybe the media doesn't like, it wouldn't promote the story about one guy breaking someone's car. He just broke his car, right? But the guy who shot in the car, he's like, everyone is like, they're holding their breath, like he shot in the car. Oh,
all right.
You see, I'm talking about like the cultural coverage, the media coverage for that, and cultural aspect of it.
Okay, so what are you trying to get at here?
I'm just trying to emphasize how the morals change in time, because I think if you go back to the ancient time,
but they didn't have cars back then.
No. But if someone
maybe shed on somebody's horse saddle,
that would be fine. But that
would be fine.
the comparison is, for example, if someone broke someone's like door or like a stick,
yeah,
that would probably be in a bigger trouble
than taking a shit on it. I don't know, man.
Yes, and everyone in the shit. Yeah, I don't know.
You're making this weird cultural argument, but I need to bring you back on road here. Okay, can we skip this part?
Yeah, I think we should, because I lost myself.
Like Eminem.
Yeah.
All right. So describing this man, what villain, real or imaginary, would you say he's most similar to? Like, what villain, either in fiction, fantasy, or in real life, would you say that he's like most similar to? And why? I'll tell you mine. I already know. The Joker from The Dark Knight.
Why?
The Heath Ledger one. Just because, like, I just think that I think that he wanted to sow chaos just for the sake of chaos. Like, some men just want to watch the world burn, and I think that this guy is just truly diabolical in the most literal sense of the word.
But yeah, frankly, I don't think it's so bad.
Why not?
It's just shit.
Do you think he just thought it was funny? Do you think it could be as simple as that he just thought it was funny?
No, I don't mean that he thought it was funny, but like Joker was like a serial killer and a maniac, right? He didn't. I don't think he shot on anyone's car. Like,
how do you know?
I don't know, but I know that he was like a maniac and serial killer.
He could have.
So it's like totally like different extent, and maybe his act was like, yeah, social defiance, something like that, but just like different extent, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe he was just like that guy from the what was one of your favorite movie with the guy who had enough?
Falling Down?
Maybe he was just like the guy from
You think
Falling
he was
Down.
like a...
He just fell down, man.
You think he's like Michael Douglas from Falling Down?
Actually, yes.
I like that theory, actually.
You know, something fell down. Something definitely fell down, man.
I like that theory.
So
he's just a middle class man who feels left behind in life.
And maybe there is something about the cars, man. Maybe there is something about the cars too. Maybe he doesn't like the cars, or
I don't think it was that. I don't think it was like he just hated cars, like he was some environmentalist or something.
Environmental activist, man.
Yeah. Smearing shit on people's gas guzzlers.
Were they all like gas cars, man? I guess
this was like 2012 to 2015.
So probably
electric cars weren't that common back then.
So maybe he was on a mission to save our planet, man.
So you think that maybe he was the spark that ignited the EV revolution?
That's deep, man.
Could it be that he was the guy who set everything in motion?
You know, there is like a thing like a butterfly effect, right?
Yeah.
some small events might trigger the hurricane. And
So you think it's
other parts of the
possible
world.
that he triggered the butterfly effect to bring EVs into our world at a higher rate?
Remember once you asked me how many percents would I give for the existence of the snowman or something like that?
The Florida skunk ape.
Or maybe skunk ape, yeah, and I said like maybe less than 1.
Yeah. I gotta sneeze. Oh.
And I said it less than 1. Maybe it's even less than 1, but that's not the point. It's just when I compare these two events, which one is more likely? This guy affected, like we don't mean like he started it, but maybe he just affected it just a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I'd say that this guy affecting the EV revolution, at least to maybe some minor point, is more likely than the existence of the snowman.
Wow, man, that's powerful.
Well, when I came here, I'm gonna freaking tell you, man. When I came here, I had no fucking idea we're gonna come to this conclusion or some shit.
I didn't either. But
That's freaking crazy, man.
I feel like we made some fucking huge progress in this case. So why do you think that he stopped?
And another thing, before we go to why he stopped, right? Maybe another thing worth mentioning. I read an article also in preparation. You see, man, I kind of prepared for this one. Another article, and it said like, yeah, I couldn't find the source, but anyway, what happened in the article is basically it was about some people who are still scared and worried about shitting, the most basic things, you know, and it might, you know, in some cases.
You mean in like a public place or just in general?
In mostly in public places, right? Some people get like all
Oh
self-conscious.
yeah, dude, that's me for sure. I don't like taking a shit in a public place either.
Yeah, for me it's also the case, and I prefer to do it in my own bathroom, you know.
Yeah,
I think
I have a Japanese ass blasting toilet, so you know I don't want to use some nasty, dirty public toilet, and I can't even wash my ass with some water. Fuck that. I want to come home to do that.
So yeah, and the article was like talking about the struggles of some people for whom this is like I think it was like a real problem. They were like super anxious, like even if they like really need to shit, right? They would avoid it. So it was a big deal, and I'd say that our guy could be kind of like you know, inspiration for them, man. not in a way that. Not in a way that.
So
how to say it? Not in the way. I'm not talking.
I think he could also be an inspiration for people who have never used a squat toilet before. Because this guy, he lives in America where there's no squat toilets anywhere to be found, right?
Yeah.
And he's just using people's open sunroofs as a squat toilet.
Yes.
Just effortlessly, just taking a shit down into people's sunroofs, right?
And many people.
That's an inspiration to people who have never used
and many people can't even use the squat toilet, and he's doing it on the roof. Which
I can't even do that, dude. I've lived here for 10 years. I can if I really have to, but I fucking hate it.
Yeah, and so yeah, for people who are so anxious, I don't mean that they'll be inspired to shit in someone's car. That's too much, you know.
Yeah.
But maybe just knowing that some freaking a little bit crazy in our current estimation guy does that, they'll be like, this fucking guy, like, you know, he shot on the car, man, and I can't shit in my office or something. I'll be like, no, man, I think
if he can do it, if he can shit on somebody's car, I can take a shit in my office toilet.
Exactly.
That's what you're trying to say.
So I think this guy might offer some. How do you call it?
He's kind of he's like a hero to some people, maybe, or he can be
after this podcast. Yeah, for some people, like he might be. How do you call it? Someone who
an inspiration.
Yeah.
Like a role model.
Not exactly the role model, you know. Not exactly the role model, but to just to little extent. They don't have, please be advised, don't go all the way, don't go all the way, don't go all the way. I said it 3 times, okay?
Yeah.
Just like this guy who shot 3 times in each car. If you get inspired by this guy, be inspired to shit in your office or shit on some market.
In a dirty gas station?
Do that. Or some fruit market, do that. In the forest, do that. But maybe you need to like dig a hole and put your shit in it. But anyway. But don't, yeah. Be inspired in a good way. We're trying to bring some good stuff here, right?
Well, on that note, what do you think he's doing now? Do you think he's still out there?
I really hope that he's all right. I really hope that he has found the one. By the one, I mean the one car where he can poop, you know. Hopefully, not hopefully, 100%. I really hope that it's his own car, you know. Maybe he put some nice ball in it and he just does the thing, you know, on his own car. I really hope so. And in the end, and again, I forgot which book was it. In the end, man, we shouldn't get up high and sit too high. Because in the end, we all sit on a big pile of shit, man.
Wow, man. I don't think I could agree with that anymore. All right, man. Do you have any apologies, shout-outs, or clarifications to make before we go?
Of course. Yeah, first of all, I'd like to say this one was one of the toughest episodes we ever did, man. In terms of preparation, in terms of everything. Hard one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think I would like to apologize to all the citizens of the Akron community.
Well, Kenmore neighborhood was where the shitter was active.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, if I, in my comparisons or in any way, belittled your suffering, please forgive me.
Forgive Ivan. He knows not what he does.
I love you guys. I love you. Basically.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, I've got a few things, man. So first, this one, it doesn't fit neatly into any of these 3 categories, but I want to just make a complaint here real quick. To all the fucking BuzzFeed writers and other shitty clickbait article writers, stop saying poopatrator. You're not fucking clever. Next, I'd like to apologize for, this episode, because it's kind of a new low for this show, honestly. Next, in regards to that checking in message I posted a while ago, looking back on it, it sounded like I might have been thinking about giving up on the show or something. So I want to clarify that no, Super Mystery Bros is not going away. I've just been busy and focused on other things lately. My wife and I just bought a new place and we're in the midst of that shit. So we might be slow to release episodes for a while, but that's it. Lastly, I'd like to give a shout out to Puff Daddy's Vote or Die campaign, but not for Puff Daddy himself, because fuck that guy, for all the work they did getting young people out to vote. And since this is going to be the last episode until the US election, I just want to remind you all to go out and vote on Tuesday. I don't care who you vote for, just make sure that you go out there and vote on Tuesday. And no matter who wins, just remember, it doesn't matter if you're British, Russian, or North Korean, or even Canadian. At the end of the day, we're all American.
Come on, man.
And it's called soccer. All right, man, I think it's time to get out of here. Like candy corn through a hole in the bottom of a dirty pillowcase, so too are the minutes of our podcast. But don't fret, dear listener. We'll be back again to breathe new life into a scary mystery next time.
Помните, ребята, истина прячется в тени. Вместе мы найдем ее.
This is Super Mystery Bros.
sometimes you just gotta take someone put the toilet paper, fucking put the toilet paper in this one.
Someone put a toilet paper in your urinal.
I hope they didn't take a shit here, man.
Have you ever taken a shit in a urinal?
Not me. But I saw shit in the fucking sink. A nice fucking turd, you know? The kind of stuff you put in a museum and shit. I told you about it. This is gotta be a best podcast ever, man.